So I'm back with some Path of Building action. League start is on Friday and there are two new skills that look very interesting, and I have plans two Path of Buildings for the upcoming league. I have no guarantee that these builds will be strong or work as a league starter, but I have some interesting things I think to think about, and yeah, maybe you want to try it, maybe not as a league starter, but yeah, that's I'm not really decided what I will play. I think I will play definitely one of these two builds I'm gonna show you. The first one is the build around Volcanic Fissure, the new slam skill. And we play with strength stack, and we use Earthbreaker totems. So Earthbreaker totems only work with slams, and since this is a slam and it's a slam skill which has some range to it, a decent range to it, if you place the totem directly on top of the boss, it will basically have no fissure and explode directly into the projectiles. And if you place it for mapping, it will just target monsters around it, and yeah, the fissures will branch out, and yeah, should be nice for mapping too. Since you also can have a Val skill which basically chains from pack to pack, which look really nice. The Val version, yeah, we can use it in this build too with on a totem. I think it should work fine. This tree is a more advanced tree. I'm using split personality already, but yeah, you don't have to travel this far. I have a POB where that I would use without split personalities, because you won't get them in the first days. Yeah, planned around with no cluster, no 8 passive clusters, and with no split personality, just with some totem clusters which should be really affordable at the start of a league. But yeah, this is my endgame tree with the split personality. So like I said, we are strength stacking, we are using Brutus Lit Sprinkler, very cheap weapon and very powerful weapon. Also on league start it's very cheap most of the time, so you can get a good roll. Then we are using basically a shield with +1 totems, the spell suppression. I don't know how expensive this will be, this kind of shield, but you basically want spell suppression, life, +1 totem, and maybe some resist. If you can't get the spell suppression, this is not a big deal. You don't have to get spell suppress kept on the start of a league. I have the starter tree without this spell suppress stuff, so this is something on end game if you have a bit more money. So this is but I always plan around a bit more currency that I can like get in week 1 or something. It's not too expensive, I think. Should be all in reason, because we are overcapped on spell suppression, so we can get like a tier 5 roll also on this shield. On the gloves, this is basically the 2 slots where we can get spell suppression. The other thing I have is a Watcher's Eye with only the Grace spell suppression. I don't think it should be too expensive, only with the Grace mod. Later on you want to get maybe a Determination Grace one, because we use Determination and Grace. So the helmet is pretty standard for Strength Staker, because you are converting the Strength melee physical damage bonus to spell damage per Iron Will. Then you have to use Crown of Ice or the Warcry, but we are using this shield, so without the Red Blade banner it's not really worth. So we opt in for Crown of Ice, which makes the increases and reductions to spell damage also apply to attacks at 150% of their value. So I can show you right now we have 831% increased attack damage just from our strength, which is pretty insane, because you don't really need any percentage damage anywhere else, because you already get so much from strength. We got flat damage and percent damage from strength. So yeah, that's the helmet slot. For the body armor, pretty standard. Also the Iron Fortress should also not be that expensive. It gives a lot of strength, has decent armor, and strength damage bonus instead grants 3% instead of 2% per 10 strength. This is really, really strong, this armor for us, and it also gives us a lot of attack block. We have 62 attack block with no investment on the tree. That's the only thing we have block basically with the shield and the Iron Fortress. Almost attack block capped. That's really nice. So for the gloves we just want strength, spell suppression and life pretty much. That's the most important. Then you can get an implicit, an Eater of Words I think gives also spell suppression. For the boots we just want the Elrond's Warpath. They are really nice. Give decent armor, chaos res, move speed and strength. So these are pretty much your endgame boots. Later you can maybe craft something better, but this is 1C item and it's really good. Will carry you through endgame. For the amulet, I think the best option, because we non-crit also, we don't really need anything other than all attributes. This is really good because it's also gives us a lot of dex and also caps our int. And we don't need that much int, because we can use a lot of bronze, which gives us reduced int then, and we still can use all our gems and items, and all the dex is converted with Magebane and gives us a lot of spell suppression, which is really nice. So Astra Mantis, I anointed Innovate, which is a golden oil, so maybe at the beginning you just anoint something like Instinct if you want to get spell suppression capped. Or at the very start you don't even care about suppression, maybe you get some damage, maybe just some prowess or I don't know, physique. Maybe it's actually worth for me to get this point. It's probably worth. I should consider this. So yeah, then 2 stone rings. I had just had some pretty reasonable, some life, some accuracy and some strength. Nothing special. Later on you want to get some strength implicit, synthesis implicit rings and craft them with strength essences until you get maybe accuracy and a good life roll, and then yeah, you're good to go. The belt slot you probably want also synthesized. I just was lazy and put some hunter belt on with all attributes and strength and just crafted life maybe. This also shouldn't be too hard to get with some catalysts, attribute catalysts, and then spam some strength essence. This also you can get this in week 1 pretty easily. I don't have flasks. Yeah, I could use. We probably use jade flask, granite flask, definitely, and a live flask and a quicksilver, and maybe the 4 flask. I don't know. Could use anything you want. So the jewels, we have the 2 split personality. I have the strength and the live ones. If you struggle with accuracy or something, you can also put on accuracy and strength, or dex and strength if you want some more suppression. But I think life and strength are generally the best one. We have over 5k life with only 89% life on the tree. Could push it a bit higher, but we are a bit starved on points because we travel a lot. Maybe we can drop something. I don't know if all these totem nodes are worth. These are definitely worth, but these ones, it's just a bit placement speed. Maybe get some more life here and here. But I'm okay with 5k life. Yeah, so the large cluster is a bit more expensive, but you don't need it at the start. At the beginning, you can just use any cluster basically. You got weight advantage is the best node, and then some random node just for the attack speed basically, and damage while leeching. We are actually leeching because we have the Ascendancy Chieftain. We are Ascendant to get some more points, and the Ascendancies are really nice for us. This is all beneficial. Some fire damage is not that much, but region is nice. 1% leech of our totems to us as life. There's only 2 or 3 things in the game where you can leech from your totems. So this is really nice for a totem build. Get additional recovery. So we get cover in Ash also, which is really strong. They take 20% more fire damage and 10% strength, which is really nice. A strength stacker. We also get here for the strength and here for the dex, and we get the dead eye. Because the Volcanic Fissure is half melee, half projectile. We care more about the projectile part. We try to scale that more, because if we can get a lot of overlaps, which I think will be possible, especially with reduced projectile speed, maybe we use a lesser support gem even. So we get mark effect. We will use Sniper's Mark. So, and we get additional proj and permanent tailwind, which is really nice for totems because it's affecting the placement speed and the attack speed of our totems. This is really cool. And yeah, basically we also use a Rain of Splinters, which will be a corruption outcome of jewels this league. So it shouldn't be very expensive. A couple of C. And then we just fill out the rest of the jewels with bronze, 3 bronze. And yeah, the Watcher's Eye, you don't need this at the beginning, like I said. If you convert the build to the split personality, you get some suppression, so you can start to get up to 100%. And the medium jewels are 1 jewel is the placement speed is nice, and the attack and cast speed is really nice. So we get 2 times the Ancestral Echo. And the second node here is the buff effect, and action speed cannot be slowed below base value. It's also nice. So having this once is pretty good. And Sleepless Sentries will give you Onslaught. This is also very important and really nice. These are the perfect jewels. So I have Earth Shatter in for calculating the Volcanic Fissure, but I can't really tell the real DPS if I don't have it in POV right now with all the projectiles and stuff. So don't look at this number, just ignore it. The damage will be enough, I think. So we have as links, we don't really have much here right now, just the most important stuff. The auras, we are using Determination, Defiance Banner, Blood and Sand, and Grace. So for the main links, I'm using a 5 link right now. Earth Shatter, this is Volcanic Fissure, so we link it to Earthbreaker Totem, then Elemental Image with Attacks, Fire Pen, and Elemental Focus. The 6th link, I'm not sure yet. Maybe slower approach, like I said, but we have to see how the skill works. Maybe Conk Effect, I'm not sure what is the best thing to make it overlap more. Then to buff our damage, we're using Ancestral Projector. We use multiple totems, so we can exceed our totem limit. We can cast 3 normal totems, and then 2 Ancestral Projectors, which gives us a big attack speed boost. And we link it with Combustion to lower the fire res of the enemy, and Culling Strike. Actually, we don't need Culling Strike because we use this mark thing. So yeah, I think I talked enough about this build. I think I will show you the other build right now because I'm already making the video very long. I hope I didn't forget anything, but if you have questions, leave them in the comments, like always. So the next build is the Frozen Legion Inquisitor, which I'm using Ice Crash to clear and Frozen Legion to supplement clear and burst on single target. So we are using on the Ascendancy, which I'm not sure if this will actually affect the statues which will cast the sweep. I'm not sure if they get the area. I hope so. I would assume, but I'm not sure. Yeah, and we are using if this is not the case, I think you can just put these 2 points into this node, and it would be fine. So this is basically always up 30% more attack damage. Is okay for 1 point, is really nice, is almost Aspect of Carnage level, and it doesn't have a downside, so it is pretty good. Battle Mages we don't care about, we don't use spells, or don't really use spells that would be affected by it. And we take the ignore enemy monster elemental resist, and some strength, int, and crit. We start here and we take the AoE. We want to scale decent amount of AoE because I think the overlaps will be better, but also the spread of the statues. So I'm not sure if AoE is the way, but I would think so. At least for the clear, it's better. I don't know if it will have any impact on single target. So this is basically staff crit tree, so it's nothing special. The cluster you can just ignore, you don't need this. This has Overlord, but we can link our Ice Crash with Fortify also, and you can just drop this and put it in when you have the currency. We look at the items. We are using Hegemony Era. It's a pretty cheap starting staff. It should be a couple chaos even on league start. So we are using Heat Shiver to basically double our damage. So yeah, this is really good for Inquisitor. You ignore the resist, so you don't need penetration for 2 damage types. It's really strong, and we have a lot of hits, a lot of single hit damage, so we basically can freeze probably even pinnacle bosses. We also have a little bits of elemental ailment effect. We are using this just the rare armor. You don't need this. I already put in the Searing Exarch and the Eater of World mods, which you won't have it early game, but yeah, the other gear is just really basic, just life, move speed, life, accuracy, some accuracy crit multi, elemental damage with attacks, life, Mark of the Elder, and just a Shaper Ring, Stygian Vice. So it's all really basic gear, crit multi, jewels, and yeah, this is nothing special. And we calculate the damage with 6 statues. I have put on 500% more damage. You have to put something before this, like a dot or something, to see the damage of Ice Crash, which is the average is 2 mil, and yeah, we scale a bit of attack speed, not too much. We don't really care all that much because Frozen Legion, you cast it once and it performs a swing, so we don't really care about the attack time that much. It's nicer if it's faster because the monster doesn't have enough time to run away or something. So, but yeah, this is basically the Ice Crash damage, 6 mil. It's really nice. And this is the combined Frozen Legion damage, 20 mil. I have ticked 30 chill, freeze, and intimidate because we will use Awaken Melee Fist. We don't have it in the early game, but you can also put this. We don't have Frenzy, we have Power charges. We get Rage from our Ice Crash because we link it to Rage support. This will increase the damage also of Frozen Legion. That's why I'm putting on Ice Crash. I don't have the most optimal supports on Ice Crash just because it's just for clear. I have faster attacks and Rage to make it feel nicer because we don't have a lot of attack speed. I have Critly recently, and I have cast 3 spells in the past 8 seconds. So I don't have anything ticked, anything special. So I think this is actually the legit damage. With Hegemony, and if you have a bit more currency, you can upgrade to this. 600 DPS is also not that impressive, but it all will push the damage by a lot already. 26 mil. We calculate the damage with Shockwave. It has very similar damage to the level 1 Frozen Legion at level 1. A little bit less, I think, so I put it at level 23. Then we link it to Melee Fist, Pulverize, Divergent if you have the currency, Divergent because you don't care about attack time that much. It's a lot of more damage. Then we get elemental damage with attacks, increased crit. Just use the normal versions in early game. If you don't have the Awaken, you don't need this. I just put it in. I don't know why, but it's not that much damage loss. And critical damage and hypothermia. The problem with this build is it's very socket staffed. We have our Ice Crash 6 link here. Ice Crash, Multi-Strike, Wet. Make damage, melee physical damage, faster attacks and rage. So we use on our left click Vortex Bone Chill to get a lot of extra damage, as you see. Molten Shell we use as auras. We are using Arctic Armor because we will stand still a lot. I think it's got buffed, so why not? I mean, you could also, if you have a bit more mana reservation, you can use like Purity of Elements. Almost fits, or yeah. Then we use Precision. We use Blood and Sand, Determination, and Defiant Spanner, and our damage aura is Hatred. And actually we get from Fanaticism, we get also the reduced mana cost of spells, and yeah, Divine Blessing, Hatred is a spell, so we can just get it for free basically. A buffed up Hatred, which is really nice. If we link it to Inspiration, it's free if we have the Fanaticism. So we also use a Val Ancestral War Chief, which gives us a huge damage boost if it's up. Yeah, and then Mark on hit, Assassin's Mark. And that's all our links pretty much. I think I don't have enough socket space, so I have to think how I do this. Maybe I have to drop something, but I'm not sure what to drop. Maybe use an Unset Ring, I don't know. Yeah, that's the tree again. Just a basic crit, attack, staff, tree. Get a lot of the AoE things. We don't go block. Should we... Yeah, decently tanky. We have a decent amount of armor. We got some max res. And we have freeze, so that's also pretty nice defensively. Yeah, and I think that's about it, and I have talked enough. So if you like one of these builds, feel free to take it to League Start, or maybe as a second build. I'm not saying this is League Start ready or tested or anything like that, so do it on your own risk. This is just some inspiration maybe for you. There's just two ways I thought could be really a good way of playing these skills. Yeah, I'm not sure, like I said, if this will be a good League Start, but I will start one of these and I will update you if it has worked for me. So yeah, I wish you all a good League Start, and yeah, I will update you how my League Start went, if I'm entering maps or have the build to a point where I think it's worth to show it. So yeah, I wish you a lot of fun in the 3.20 expansion, and yeah, good League Start.